Hi, this is Ryan. I see him pronouns. I'm running Alas for the Awful Sea by Haley Gordon and V. Hendro, who are also on the Gauntlet. So if you're not on Gauntlet Hangouts, you should join because they're rad and they're here, as well as me and all these cool people. I'm gonna go, guess it's alphabetical order again. So I'm gonna throw it off to Jim.
Hey, I'm Jim Crocker. I've been on the Gauntlet for a little over a year at this point. Folks who recognize my face or my voice from outside the Gauntlet may do so because I've been a retailer of tabletop hobby games for many, many years. And I sell them at a whole lot of conventions up and down the East Coast and in the Midwest. I have a business that's called Jim Likes Games, and that's where you find me on Twitter, and that's where you find me on the internet if you're curious about what I think about games and stuff like this. I've been wanting to play Alas for the Awful Sea for a little while, actually. It's the kind of thing, it's just sort of up my alley. The Mariner's Revenge song by the Decemberists is kind of like pops into my head every couple of weeks, just apropos of nothing, because I see something that reminds me of it. And like, if ever there was something that said that song to me, it seems like it may be this game. So I'm really looking forward to checking it out. Also, and I haven't played with you before, Ryan. So this was an opportunity to play with some folks that I hadn't played with yet. So I think we're gonna enjoy it.
Likewise, I hadn't had a chance to play with Jim, though I've seen him from watching videos of series I was jumping into before, and I've never gotten to play with Peter. And I've played with Sarah, but that doesn't mean that I've like done play with Sarah. Sarah's also awesome. So
Uh,
let's take us away.
okay, cool. Just double checking. I was like alphabetical order and trying to do all of that. Anyways, hi, I'm Peter. I'm a little newer to the Gauntlet. I use he, him pronouns. And this is just kind of, you can find me on Twitter at Blazing Lion. That's Blaising. I have to stop myself because my middle name is Blaze, but it's Blaise, and then I start confusing myself, and it's going to be that kind of night. So, Alas for the Awful Sea actually really interested me because, in sort of a random act of fate, I had actually bought the book for the game the day before the signups went up. Because I'm a big fan of the Storytellers crew. I actually did a play test of Good Society's expansion, Pride, Prejudice, and Practical Magics, and I played it with V, and so I was like, oh, wait, they've made other games. And so this was kind of the one previous, and so I bought that, and literally the next day the signups went up, and I was like, I want to play it. Please, please, I want to play it. Oh my god, please. And so I got lucky, and I'm really excited to be here, and I've only briefly played with Jim once, like earlier this week, and he was my GM. So this should be interesting to play with him as a fellow player. And I haven't played with Ryan or Sarah, but just from hearing awesome, wonderful things about them, mainly through Barry. Hi, Barry. I can't wait to play with both of them. It's going to be an absolute blast. So that's me.
And I'm Sarah. I'm she, her. I've been on the Gauntlet since I think August, roundabout there. Mostly I'm playing this because Ryan's GMing. But also I love the sea and would really like to be on ships at some point in my life. These old sailing ships, those are neat. Yeah, just like the atmosphere. And I'm here for sad.
All awesome reasons. And yeah, hi Barry. I'm sure he's gonna watch this. So I passed out the playbooks and descriptors ahead of time, and people know vaguely what they want, or do you want to go over it? It's also worth noting that what sort of things you pick will sort of define our ship. If we've got a merchant, it's probably a merchant ship. If we don't, it might be, it might not be. And don't feel like you need to match some thought I have about what your ship is, because you're gonna make it up. And yeah, feel free to grab any color you want. I will nuke the columns we don't need. And yes, there's a picture of a ship on our ship tab where we will define its weirdnesses, because we're in a two-masted schooner, which I'm sure means things to some people, but it didn't to me until I found a picture. So you can look at it and see what your ship might look like. And yeah, this keeper is set to auto-populate most of your text because there's not a lot of variety. It kind of fills itself in, and that cuts down a little on the time I sit here desperately staring at you going, oh no, everyone's watching me. What do I do now?
So I'm usually happy to choose from whatever is left after people pick if they have actual preferences. So please go ahead and speak up if there's something that you're particularly interested in.
Well, I'll go ahead, and I did take some time to look over it, and I figure fortune favors the bold, so I might as well make my choices. And I went ahead with my playbook being the scholar and my descriptor being the lover.
I think I'm going to go with the old sea dog. Some of the descriptions on that make me lean toward the creature. Not sure yet, though.
Gotta confess that I am incredibly fond of the creature playbook, which surprises no one who knows me.
All right, so that being the case, I will be a surgeon and a believer.
The way the sheet auto-populates the moves is amazing.
Thank you.
I do have a question, just because I keep running into it. So I'm just trying to put a +2 for like my brain stat, obviously, but every time I hit the +2, the plus disappears and it just stays as 2. Is that okay?
That's fine, but I'll try changing how it formats numbers so it'll leave you alone with it.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I was able to keep everything straight.
Yeah, and so long as it's clear which ones are the negative, then you're probably good.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna go with the negative. Real quick, what is the Beyond score for?
That's your ability to tap on into things beyond, like to read what the sea is telling you, or anything vaguely weird you want to do. It's also kind of your clue finding stat. If at any point you want to know just a hint of something you could do, you can attempt to see beyond, and the beyond will give you visions of things that you could go do.
Cool.
Or, yeah, if there's anything creepy weird you want to do, beyond is probably your stat.
All right.
I can't imagine as a surgeon there's going to be anything creepy I want to do. That won't be. I can't see that entering into things.
Is balance a physical and a mental thing?
Brains is more the physical mental. Balance is more your like agility type stat. I'm gonna pull this up to make sure that I'm not lied about what your stats mean, but. Yeah, balance is what you use for, like, you know, act under pressure type roles and that kind of stuff. So it's, I guess, sort of how level-headed you are, but also physical. Brains is more how clever you are. Which is to say you were right and ignore me forever.
Okay. So that's that.
And your descriptors, I'll give you some extra questions to figure out. Such as, who is your true love? That could be a PC. That could be, like, I can offer you some NPCs to hook into. Lauren has done her true love as the ship because that's Lauren for you.
Sounds like Lauren.
Yeah.
That is wonderful.
And our believer needs to pick what sort of belief he has or they have. And our creature, of course, can be whatever sort of creature you want. Oh, and talking at the camera while people are filling things out. We went over safety mechanics beforehand, but anyone viewing who doesn't already know that, should this ever go up, know that we had a Lines and Veils conversation. That's all noted down. And the X card is in play should anything come up. And just because it's me, we're not going to play too strictly into period-appropriate sexism and homophobia and stuff, because that's just not fun for me to do to you all. So if you want to play a group of entirely women who are also entirely gay or something, I will not stop you. Go for whatever you want to be. Listen to your heart.
I can definitely agree about the gay part, because my character is definitely gay. I mean, I would say spoiler alert, but like, okay.
I have yet to play a character who was not queer in some way on the Gauntlet, so I salute you.
Oh, that makes me happy. Okay.
Oh, and also, if you want to edit something that is pre-populated, feel free to copy the text and just paste it into that text bar, or edit it on the data tab, however you want.
Are we limited by the religions that are listed there, or can I be a Quaker if that's what I want to do?
The suggestions in any box are mere suggestions.
Excellent.
Do what you want.
Excellent. Oatmeal for everyone.
Real quick, for the bonds that are like on the character sheets and everything, do we just pick one, or is it like all four of them apply, or?
Once we get our characters made and roughly introduced, I'll have you each pick 2 of those to aim at your fellow PCs. And you can pick whichever 2 you like.
Fantastic.
Or just say, heck, I don't know, does anyone really want one of these to apply to them? Which is always a valid tactic.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool.
This is the great video part of every AP. Whenever you're ready, feel free to say so, but no rush. There's a bunch of decisions to make here.
Cool.
I do think there's something wrong with one of my boxes.
Ooh, which box and how so?
Under your true form, when I try to click, I'm just getting code that looks like it should be pulling from somewhere, but there's nothing actually there.
I wonder if I accidentally broke that somehow. Oh, okay. I get what it is. That's supposed to be a blank where you fill in what you are, but for some reason I had it populate a blank with a blank, and that makes no sense. So just put in what you want. The playbook, or descriptor list, whatever, has a bunch of suggestions for things about yourself, but again, they're only suggestions. If you really want to play a seafaring Kelpie or whatnot, go for it.
All right. I think I'm mostly good on my end. The only stuff I have to worry about now are bonds, which is sort of an everyone thing.
So hey, you're a scholar. Do you have the means to have essentially commissioned this ship, or did you just beg someone for passage on their ship so that you could go scholar around the Hebrides? Or where were you going to?
I actually think it's a bit of a mix. I think it does say on my character sheet that I'm well off, but I don't think I've told anyone because I'm kind of enough of a deal that if I did just tell people, hey, I'm going on this thing, everyone would try and keep tabs on me. And I just kind of was like, if you take me away and we keep this deal under wraps, I will just... I think some deal was made, and now I'm just kind of like going about my business. But apparently there was something along the way that was a little bit more than I bargained for, considering I'm also the lover. I don't think that was my intention. I think I was purely scientific, and that kind of went sideways. I don't know how to deal with matters of the heart very well, but I'm dealing with them.
I'm now entertained by the possibility of being a lover of science, where science betrays you. So do you think that the thing you were hiding from is, like, academic groupies, or are you just a very important person and you don't want that following you? Because
I think it's more
important.
Yeah, I think it's more the important person thing. I think even in this, fictional 19th century universe, I'm just like, hey, I kind of want to keep things to myself, because I think when I was land-bound, I kind of got a little too big, a little too self-important, and I think what I'm trying to do now is just be like, for whatever reason, I'm a mess externally, but internally I kind of find the sea and everything about it much more calming and beneficial to my studies.
So instead of going backpacking in Peru to find yourself, you went on a creaky ship to do science.
Yep.
I'm 100% into all of these answers. So.
Oh, good. Okay. I'm like, half of it is like, yes, I planned this, and the other half is like, it's falling out of my mouth, and I'm going, so these are the answers. Well, that's something I didn't know. But that's a good sign for this character. I've got a handle on some of what he wants.
And I think I'm as set as I can be before we have our conversation with each other about bonds.
Sweet. And you're a Quaker, which is
I am.
Cool. So
I'm Dr. Benjamin Mott.
What a wonderful name.
Yes, that is a good name.
I'm curious, does he... Oh, no, go ahead.
Nope, you gotta go. You said something.
I'm curious, and this might just come up during play, but I'm curious what he prefers people to call him. Is it Dr. Benjamin, Dr. Mott, or...
Let's play to find out.
Sounds good.
My hunch is, as with most of these things, depending on how you get along with him, he will request you call him one thing or another. So we'll see how all that goes.
I think that's valid.
I think I'm ready as well.
Sweet. So I'm looking at the special notes, and Dr. Benjamin Mott is unique in that one of your bonds cannot be filled out until the first time you fail a move, and then you'll choose who it applies to. So go ahead and leave that one blank. I mean, you're not going to fail a move, right? You'll never have a moment of crisis. And Pearl, do you want to tell us about what you are, or do you want to just leave those as ominous clues until we eventually find out?
I'll tell you now. I don't think this is actually a thing, but like some sort of like sea serpent eel thing. Lots of teeth and shining.
I'm into it.
Or like a deep one.
Yeah. Something with like spines. Like this, you see it and like, okay, this is not a thing that should be on the earth. Because it's not. It's at the bottom of the sea.
Well,
Oh.
yeah, like most deep sea creatures look.
Yeah.
Question for the bond. Are we selecting all of these things?
No, you will create one bond with each of your fellow crew members
Oh, okay.
and pick whichever two you think apply best. Or, I mean, if you really don't want to bond with one of your crew members, you could make a bond with like an NPC shipmate or something, and they'll become important. You can snub people if you really want to, but since bonds are also what you roll with to help or interfere with people, you might want to have them, because otherwise you're rolling flat.
Can we do the round robin out loud thing for our bonds?
We're definitely going to, because
Oh,
I'm not a
okay,
fan
cool.
of just announcing to people that this is their relationship to you. Consent.
Excellent.
So, since you spoke up first, Jim, why don't you either offer a bond and see who wants it, or ask someone if they want a bond, or however you want to approach this. You have those bonds.
Sure. Which of you put in a hand when it mattered and helped me save a life? And I see that either like the scholar knew something I didn't, or something about the creature like that was unique to the creature's physiology or something like that allowed me to save somebody. Like I could see that going either way, and both of those things being cool.
Well, if it's all right, I'll volunteer.
Yeah, totally. Excellent. And your name is Pearl. Are you Pearl or are you Isaac? No, you're Isaac. Sorry. Okay. So, all right. Isaac put a hand in when it mattered and helped me save a life.
Awesome. Doesn't really have to have an answer, but do you know whose life that was? Was it someone else on the ship? Was it someone in passing? Was it the captain?
Yeah.
Or if you don't know, that's also cool.
You know what? I think it was honestly just like some random salt in a bar that got, that like got a bottle across his face or something like that, and he was bleeding out. And I couldn't save him by myself. But because I'm the kind of person that will just like try to save the life of a random person in a bar. And none of the other sailor like this, like everybody's fleeing while the whatever the city guard is, the admiralty is on their way and stuff like that. So everybody else is cleared out because nobody wants to take the blame. And I just called for help. And I think that you does that sound like a situation where you would help a very attractive young doctor help save somebody with my beauty of two?
Yeah, no, I mean, with or without the beauty, although the beauty helps, Isaac's one of those people who somebody calls for help and he doesn't check what kind of help, he just runs to their aid.
All right, okay. I've got like a Colin Firth as Mr. Darcy thing going on, so...
Good mental image.
So there you go. So that's, maybe a little with like more smile and less sneer, but that's kind of what I'm using as my mental picture for him. So yeah, all right. You and you helped me save a life, and I think we have been perhaps like, have we been hanging out together ever since, or like I kind of like the idea that this happened years ago and we were in correspondence for a while and then ended up on the same ship somehow.
Yeah, you know what? I think you were my way onto the ship.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I vouched for you as someone that you know, though a naturalist may not seem like a good fit for this, he can also help as a surgeon's assistant, should it be required, Captain. Yeah.
Ah, yes, I love it.
Yeah.
This is all amazing, and I am completely into it. So, I guess keeping to alphabet order, Peter, or actually, Isaac McCarr. Do you want to throw out a bond?
I do. So okay. So I'm gonna just go ahead and throw out the bond. Ooh, they're also interesting.
And if there's none that really speak to you, you can make up one whole cloth, but it's, unless you want the improv way to that. Yeah, or steal one that you like the look of. But if you like yours, go for them. Whatever. I don't know, you make the rules.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna go for so who is convinced that I can communicate with birds?
I really like. I will take that. I will take that immediately. Please.
Yeah, cool. I love it. No, and the best part is that Isaac is this soft, pudgy man who is just kind of like, you could not, like, he just looks so out of place on the ship, but for some reason, like, he actually gets along with everyone, which is weird in this century and this kind of landscape and everything we're going with. But he's very personable, and I think, he's just like, it's clear that yes, he's a naturalist, but there's a reason for it. There's kind of like a little bit of a wildness about him that's like, yeah, he could communicate with birds. Can he?
I think too that, like, the sky is not at all my purview. So, like, if you tell me something about it, I will probably believe you.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you just feed the birds too? And so I'm like, oh, they know they know to come to you.
Yeah. I think it's partly that. I think it's also as a side effect. I frequent the kitchen quite a bit just because, and so I do feed the birds, but they can also very strongly smell me. So,
like, birds are smart too. I bet if you fed them a couple times, they'd start following you around.
Right, yeah, so there's just kind of like this flock of birds that you can always find near the ship. Maybe it's the same one, maybe it's different. No one's quite sure. Perfect. Okay, so that is something for Pearl.
And are these are different from the special bonds you guys have, right?
Yeah, these are just the ones on the old Sea Dog playbook. Although, again, if those don't speak to you, feel free to snag a different bond or make up a bond.
Okay. The more interesting one of mine is, that this person hears the sounds at night too. Volunteers.
I think that's me. I almost certainly have some kind of like night terror thing going on. For sure. And it also, like, that may also be the like it's night watch, there's only 3 people on deck, but I'm up there because I can't sleep.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it sounds like someone's speaking just under the sound of the water.
Yeah. So I
like
kind of, it's
crying.
It's why I don't like to go below the waterline on the ship. So
you've never scrubbed off the barnacles?
I am a doctor, so they do not make me do things like that. So no, I have never scrubbed a barnacle. I've removed corns and treated blisters.
Basically the same thing.
Kind of like doing that for a person, but I have not removed barnacles from the ship. So, yeah, no, totally. I hear the things at night, and I'm looking forward to seeing what those voices say. So that's excellent.
Just for the record, I am impressed and grossed out by the idea of human barnacles. So thanks for giving me that nightmare feel. So
did we want to do snake order or go back to me?
I guess I could go back to Jim unless someone has a second bond that they really want to throw out.
You know what? Just to switch things up, I'll jump in there. And so this one would either go, in this case, either to Jim's character or just in general. And it's going to be, you've been secretly studying blank.
Person or subject?
I'm not sure. It's one of those bonds in there, and it kind of makes me wonder. I think I'm pretty wrapped up in my own subject of expertise, which is plants and that sort of thing. But my thought for how it would work for the surgeon is that ever since the incident with the old salt bar, is that he basically, through the correspondence and everything, and also sort of on the side, it's just kind of like, what's your deal? I want to know more about your deal.
Yeah, I think that's fun. That's totally cool. That's awesome.
Great, because I think Isaac's like hyper curious, but he somehow has a way of not letting that on necessarily.
All right, so I really like the bond. Blank seems suitably impressed by your skills, and you just can't stop showing off in front of them for the old salt. Is you okay with that?
What are you doing?
I think just that, I imagine it to be like a, you know what? I think it is, it's,
sorry, I was gonna move a rat.
No worries, that's okay. You know what I think it is? I think it's, I think we bonded over sewing.
Okay, that's cool.
Because you stitch sails together, but I do stitches in people, and we're like, you taught me to sew sails, and I taught you to sew wounds closed.
I think I definitely taught you all the knots.
Yes, yeah. You taught me the knots, but I taught you how to, you taught me knots, I taught you anatomy. So
okay.
Does that sound?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I have zero real need for this myself.
Well, if you're on deck and somebody catches a gaff in the arm or something like that, you don't want them to bleed out. So that's good.
Cool.
Yeah, and I like it's also a thing where like you may even say like I imagine that conversation going exactly like that. I'm not sure I have any need of this. No. You should know this. So yeah, okay.
And like that's not what I mean, but
If you're good with that, then that's great.
Yep.
Excellent, cool.
Perfect.
All right. So,
is Peter next?
Pearl.
Pearl is the only one.
Yeah, no,
Still gets to pick a
Peter
bond.
went before me, so
Okay,
With his second- his
do
second.
we not all get 2 bonds, or did he just do his 2 already and I missed them?
Oh,
he jumped in front of me. Which is totally cool. With my permission, he jumped in front of me. So yeah.
yeah. After the first round, it's pretty much if you really have one burning a hole in your bond pocket, then go for it. So
Okay. I have taught someone everything they know about the sea.
I kind of think that's the scholar. I kind of think that's Isaac.
Is this
that's
your
all right.
first time on a boat?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you get seasick at the beginning?
Not that anyone saw, or so I thought. I think Isaac was trying to keep it together and like trying to show that just because it's my first time on the sea doesn't mean I'm going to get seasick. And I think that, it was clear that like he got seasick many times, but like either the crew didn't see it or like they saw it and didn't talk to him about it at all.
Did you
Or one
go
person
to
saw
the
it.
surgeon?
I think Isaac's even too nervous to do that. I think he was like, I'm a man of science. This is a scientific thing that happens. It's normal. And I think Pearl definitely saw and was like, didn't say anything, but I think she was, or they, pardon me.
I think you can use any pronoun you want. It doesn't matter.
Well, I think they were kind enough to at least lend him a hand in trying to get his bearings more. And although he's he may be acting just the taddest bit like, oh well, of course, yes, this makes so much sense, and I'm going to have everything under control. He appreciates it, and I think it's certainly, he doesn't talk about it, but I think he'd probably jump in front of a boat for them.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Try to arrange that, Ryan.
wait, jumping in front of a boat sounds like it will do nothing to the boat and everything to you, but
it's the kind of person he is.
So now that we've established what kind of person he is, where he is apparently ride or die for people he's just met, would you like to name a lover? Or do you want to leave that? Or what? Or
So I have a few ideas, but I think because it can go so many ways, and I've kind of created him now to where he's ride or die for people, I want to see how that plays out. So I'm going to hold off for now on choosing, and it'll almost certainly come up in the future, and I'm very excited for when it does, but I don't know when that's going to happen.
in the meantime, would you like to name someone that you left behind who is a lover? Because that opens up some of your if you move on moves.
Okay, yeah.
Or maybe even someone we might encounter in game.
Yeah, I think...
Not that you have to, just giving you chances to ruin everything for yourself because you are the lover.
Okay, I love the sound of that personally. So I think we've established that Isaac is a man of correspondence. I think he really, has trouble sort of letting things go, and he sort of kind of leans into things a little bit too much. And I think that, the whole boat thing might have been a little bit more impulsive than he'll let on to anyone, that he just kind of did it without telling people. And I think he did leave someone behind. But one of the key things about it is that this person, who I will work on a name as I'm talking, honestly, they were very close and they used to travel together because, just because he's not used to the boat doesn't mean that Isaac didn't get around a lot. The study of flora and fauna takes you to some very strange places. And I think that, I think things were a little bit rough towards the end. They started to have differing opinions and goals on what they wanted to do, how they wanted to go about the rest of the research going forward. And I think that with this person, it's actually kind of the first time that he's ever left, a person behind. And I think when Isaac left, it did kind of leave a piece of his heart behind, and because of that nature of travel and the fact that didn't really go anywhere, that never really left per se, I think there's certainly a chance that whoever this is, they could definitely come back. They could definitely show up in some unlikely places. Because I think whoever they were even a little bit more bolder than Isaac is. And that's saying something, because Isaac's a little out there. But this was kind of like a defining thing that I think it's the reason Isaac is the way he is today. So take that defining little character moment and ruin me. I can't wait.
Would I never? Yeah, feel free to assign a name to the said person whenever you like.
Yeah, no, I mean, as I was talking about it, I'm like, yes. Oh, God, I can't do two things at once. Yep, I got it. I got it.
Names, so no worries.
No, I got it. I definitely got it.
Sweet.
Do you want me to tell you his name? Because his name was Victor Palmer.
Ooh, okay.
Because I like doing things impulsively. No, but really, that's his name. Ooh. Ignore me.
Okay. And I auto data validation your field so that you can put in Victor Palmer and then rewrite it when you inevitably change lovers, unless maybe your love is true. I don't know. I don't know you.
We will find out how much I know me.
Holy crap, Sarah. 0 to terrifying in record time. That is awesome.
The second one's kind of cute.
Yeah. I mean, in a cute and it's going to kill me sort of way, but it's got a little veil of lights. It's a very fashionable sea snake serpent eel thing.
Are there... Oh, in the chat. Okay. I was looking at the... Oh, that's cute. That's fine. Nothing wrong there.
Yeah. Pearl is officially the cutest person on the ship. So, since we don't have the captain in play, now comes the really fun question, where I just ask, so who of you is in charge?
So we don't have a captain.
No, the captain exists, but of the three of you, who's in charge? If
maybe the surgeon, unless our scholar reveals that thing about himself that we don't know.
So I guess my question back to you is, does someone have to be in charge?
Can we rule by committee?
Because I mean, like the whole Quaker, meeting of friends thing seems like I would push to have us be, relatively co-equal in our deciding how to do things, each of us in our area of expertise. But if the if the game calls on us to, if the game calls on us to point to someone, then I mean, it seems like when we're on ship, it's Pearl.
I admire your attempt to break the game before we even start properly playing, but this question really only determines who chooses the ship's name.
There we go.
It's just I get to throw out a For the Fairest thing.
Totally Pearl.
I'm happily okay with it being Pearl.
In which case...
So, fun fact, I don't think Pearl's not on a manifest. I think they just were there after you launched. Look at ship names. What's the time period we're in? Sorry, 1800s?
Yeah, early 1800s, like 1820s-ish. But again, history is more flavor than exact historical accuracy. I mean, we've got a horrible but also cute sea eel on ship. We're not going for 100% realism here.
I'm going to name it after myself. The Pearl.
Perfect.
That's probably why I chose it, actually. The ship out of all others.
That's creepy and sweet.
Oh, the ship's not named after you. You're named after the ship. Oh, okay.
So we're going to do one last round of character gen and then take a short break, probably. Because now is the part where you all get to warp the ship to your tastes. Everyone gets to name one unusual or notable or whatever fact about the ship. That can be things like it's got a hold full of cows, or like in my previous game, it always smells like coffee. It must have picked up coffee at some place. It could be smuggling compartments. It could be that the kitchens are top-notch, like there's fancy food in this thing. Whatever you want the ship to have, now is your time to establish it.
We're in Scotland.
Yes, the ship need not necessarily be Scottish, if you like, but it is, for some reason, in the North Sea.
Sheep.
There's just hold packed with sheep.
We definitely have some on board.
Okay.
Maybe a Highland cow.
So there are definitely some sheep on this ship.
Let's give ourselves a couple Highland cattle as well.
Sweet. I will let you fill that in then, instead of me attempting to summarize the livestock situation on this ship.
It has a figure on the bow of Asclepius, who's the Greek god of like medicine and surgery.
Into it, and also, well, someone's feeling self-important today.
Or maybe that's why I chose the ship, or...
True.
Burn.
This is clearly a ship that values medicine.
Yes.
I think we never have to scrape barnacles off the bottom. It just doesn't pick them up.
That raises so many questions, but I'm 100% into it.
Wonderful questions.
And Peter, what weirdness would you like to add to our ship?
Yeah, so it's sizable enough that it's got a few different levels to it. But basically, at any given level, at any given room, at just about any given time, if you look hard enough, there are little kind of pieces of paper that are kind of like folded up and just strewn around the floor. And, some of them are a little more wet than others, and just because of the ocean and everything. And I mean, everybody's kind of used to it at this point because they're actually notes that Isaac writes to himself to remember things. But then once he's remembered them, he throws the notes away and doesn't really have a waste paper basket or anything of that sort nearby. So he's kind of prone to just leaving these things. And they can say anything from, remember to throw up overboard instead of on board, to almost indecipherable notes about fauna, but if they're notes about it, it's nothing that anyone else on the ship can make sense of.
Is it all in Latin? Those names?
It looks like it started out as Latin and over time has derailed into something resembling Latin. Some of these words definitely don't exist in Latin, and Isaac's just a little bit less studious than he probably should have been in class that day, so he kind of goes, that looks like Latin, and makes up the words. Just, that looks right. Which is also part of the reason why, although he's been on the ship for so long, no one still quite knows what he's talking about.
I'm into all of this. Like, one of our ship's weirdnesses is just that it's got all these notes that are in a language that's not entirely unlike Latin. And the figurehead of Asclepius. It's rad. Yes, someone is writing magic spells and spreading them all around the ship, and you don't know why.
It would be really interesting if sort of a side effect of that was that he accidentally did start writing. Then that was a side effect, but that's not at all what I was going for, but it would be really funny if it did. If he just accidentally started, messing with the ship by casting these things. And he's like, no, I just made up the words. Yeah, well, where'd the words come from?
So, fair warning, I'm sure that some of the crew is a little freaked out that these things keep showing up, because what the heck?
Yeah, and I think Isaac just kind of flits around so much that there's very few people who can nail him down long enough to go, is this yours? He's just...
Yeah, he doesn't have time to put his notes anywhere but the floor. Clearly, he's kind of scattered.
Yeah, I mean, the worst part is he really thinks that he's remembering all of this. And he has a great memory, but we'll see if that fails him when he needs it most.
Awesome. So let's take 5, and then we'll come back and dive right into the ship and play.
You got it.
Sweet. So 15 after whatever time it is for you now. welcome back. So, because I don't think I actually formally had you do this, why doesn't everyone, again, we'll just go alphabet order, give me your character's name, pronouns, and the really brief summary of who you are, what playbook you did, because I can see it all, but this might be confusing if anyone tries to watch and we haven't actually said that. Oh, and alphabetical order by player rather than character, because let's not complicate this more.
So there we go. Okay, cool. So I'll go first. I am Dr. Benjamin Mott. I am the surgeon with the believer descriptor. I have chosen to be a Quaker as my religious affiliation. I'm a man with kind eyes, a serene face, toned body, and neat civilian clothes. I go by he, him. I think I said before, I'm thinking like Colin Firth as Mr. Darcy, kind of a look going on with him. And he's a surgeon who is like the kind of doctor that's actually like interested in trying to lessen suffering in the world, which is certainly going to be a hill he is not going to be able to climb. That is a Sisyphean task that he has assigned himself. But I have good traveling companions here to see this amazing world that has been laid out before me and try to understand how it works. So, and then I think the rest of it we'll figure out through play.
All right, keep things moving. My character I'm playing Isaac McCarr, he, him pronouns. He is the scholar with the lover descriptor. And appearance-wise, he's a man, he's soft, lively, pudgy, with ink-stained clothes. Just kind of... He's not really the kind of person that you'd necessarily expect to end up on a ship, but life has sort of presented him with this opportunity to get out of his, I want to say, comfort zone. He's much more of a land-bound fellow, but he's acclimated to the sea decently. He's known and now met a few people aboard this ship already, and he's just kind of he's keeping to himself how well off he is, if only also because I think being on the sea far away from sort of his well-to-do life, I don't know if he sees himself as that person anymore. And so we'll see if that past comes back to haunt him, or if he's able to kind of make a new life for himself. Spoiler alert, it'll probably come back to haunt him.
And I'm playing Pearl, the old Sea Dog playbook, but the creature descriptor. So I don't think I was ever a child exactly. I never left for the sea. I was always here. And I occasionally hitch a ride on ships. I think just out of interest. I'm using they, them, but doesn't matter. Androgynous, glittering eyes, mesmerizing face, sinewy body, and I'm wearing sailor's clothes, but I think they are just slightly too big. Like I've got a belt, like to make it look a little neater. Yeah.
So, you're sailing out near the Western Isles or Outer Hebrides. Yeah, actually, 3 turtles standing at each other. Under the command of Captain Rosalind Ward, who's a fairly steady, solid, commanding figure. She knows her ship, she knows her crew, she trusts you all to do your job and not get in the way, but to pitch in when you're needed. And it's one of those times when you need to pitch in, probably, because a storm comes up that's the sort of storm you would tell your grandchildren about if you managed to survive. A sailor sees this kind of thing only once in their life. Hopefully. And the ship is being tossed around, like a child's bath toy. It's getting intense in here. Where are you as this gets even worse? I'm going to pick on our scholar. What are you doing?
All right, so I think the minute that I saw things getting bad, and I mean seriously bad, not just, oh, this is a storm, I know what to do. I think I'm somewhat below deck in my quarters, and I am collecting every bit of research that I can and trying to compile it all together, because right now it's scattered, much to my own both dismay and it was my fault. And I'm just trying to collect everything, and once I think I've got enough, I'm trying to basically, like, I've got a coat, but it's, like, tight enough on me that I'm, like, trying to stuff all the pages down my, like, sort of vest and just trying to get it all in there, and it's a total mess, and I, like, I have so many things to worry about, but of course that, like, my research is important, because if I go down, my research might go with me, and I want to make sure that at least one thing survives. I don't know why that shouldn't be me, but, like, we're going to find out. And so as soon as I've got enough in there, I'm rushing out of my quarters with kind of my coat wrapped around my front, and then I'm trying to run to wherever I think our good doctor is, because he seems to do well under this kind of pressure.
So it seems like you're trying to get a lot done while the ship is trying to throw you into the walls. Are you perhaps acting under pressure to get your notes stuffed in and make it to the doctor?
Yes, I am certainly acting under pressure.
Why don't you give me that roll then?
All right. What do I roll?
That's plus balance, which fortunately you have some of.
That was unintentional, but I will take it. Okay. So what dice do I roll?
Just 2d6 of
Okay.
whatever color you like. Standard PBTA fodder.
Okay. 2d6. I don't know why that name came up, but I rolled a 5 and a 6. So that's 11 plus 2 is 13.
You are surprisingly clear-headed about this. You not only do it, but you've got those notes packed in. You're pretty sure that they're going to be safe, even if you go overboard. I mean, the ink is probably going to run, but your notes will be saved.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well.
And oh yeah, continue.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, not only do you know that you got to get to the surgeon, but somehow you seem to have acquired sea legs, because you are navigating the ship with finesse that would impress the saltiest of old sea dogs. Logically, you should get, like, thrown into stuff, but you're somehow, like, zen of flow, finding your way to the surgery.
Well, that's good. Starting off on a good note. All right. That's what I'm doing.
Sweet. And let's cut over to Dr. Mott to see how things are going wherever he is.
I think that I am moving about below decks, because there's a whole there's like a crew that has to work up top and a crew that has to work kind of underneath. And the captain has up top taken care of. But there are a whole bunch of men, and in particular, like down here, there's like cabin boys and some of the newer salts and stuff like this, who, like you say, this is like this epic storm. It's a biblical storm, if you will. So I am like in the galley or whatever, and just kind of going around, saying, this is where God reveals, the fury of nature to us, and we will survive it. And having done so, we will have seen something that he has chosen to show us that few are lucky enough to see, and be able to talk about it afterwards. And this will be a story that you will be able to tell your children about how you were not, none of us are able to look God in the eye, but perhaps you saw a glance, askance, as all of this rained down on us. So I have a move called Spiritual Fire.
Yeah, I was going to say, this sure sounds like spiritual fire.
When you spread your faith to inspire many others, roll plus beauty, and then stuff happens depending on whether I succeed or fail. So basically, I'm like, trying to keep people from freaking out and keep them doing their jobs and all that kind of stuff and everything. So being the morale officer. So that is an 8 plus my beauty of 2 gets me to a 10. So I can choose 3 off the list. They act immediately. They don't misinterpret my message. They don't use violence to follow my message. Moons and miracles later. See what happens.
Yeah. Clearly, you are in cahoots with God when it comes to these storm things. So,
well, I've promised them that this will be a wonderful story and all that kind of stuff and everything. So, but yeah, so no, like I'm going around and like patting people on the back, and like if they need a quick hand to help turn a crank or something like that, I'll do that. But like nobody's hurt right now. So I'm just kind of going around, just like giving pep talks and reminding people that that we're going to live through this.
Yeah, and it would make sense for there to be panic below ships now, even among people who are pretty comfortable being at sea. But they're weirdly calm because you're just such a reassuring presence.
I am.
They want to believe that you're right and that you would not lead them astray, and this is all going to be okay.
Yes, it will.
Which means that the pumping and everything is going much better. But let's get over to Pearl, because I'm super curious what Pearl is doing in this storm. Does this even faze you?
I mean, it's not at all a danger. You can, if you get underwater, it's peaceful. But I think they've sent Pearl up, like to go like tie up the sails. Like this should have been done a while ago, but like one of them came undone. And I'm like just quick and agile enough to get off this. So I've tied it back, but then I'm kind of like there's the ship laid out beneath me, and like I can see everyone running around at their tasks, but also just like the incredible majesty of a storm like this. I think I just like tilt my face into the rain and just like feel it and like become a part of it almost.
Are you trying to sense what's beyond by becoming part of the storm? What are you angling for here?
Sure, yeah, that sounds good. I was looking at some of the calling out of the creatures, but it doesn't seem like we're in bad enough danger to warrant that yet.
You could definitely call on creatures to save the ship from this storm if you want to. You have weird powers.
It's not going down yet. Let's stick with just beyond.
Yeah, however you want to spin this, I am into it.
Okay, so I roll 2d6. That's a 10.
So you receive visions and truths, and this is where I go, well, crap, now I have to come up with helpful visions and truths. So, as the sea is lashing around you and you feel the rain on your face and everything, you're overcome with a sense of deep melancholy, which you can probably parse out as being not you, but the sea itself. Like something is terribly sad about it and lashing out, not trying to hurt people necessarily, but trying to get anything to take notice. And then the moment's gone.
I want to somehow hug the sea. How do I do that?
Roll to hug the sea.
Can I help the sea?
Like,
this might be like further down the road stuff.
yeah,
But
I mean, I'm looking at the moves going, how could we make a hug the sea roll? To the story brewers, should they ever see this, this is a major hole in your game that you cannot hug inanimate objects. I don't know why you didn't write that move. Or arguably animate objects.
I guess then I'll just
Yeah, you can totally make this a manipulate another roll if you want to try to manipulate the sea into calming the fuck down. Or something.
okay, to do that I feel like I need to be in the water. So I think I like not even climb, but just like slide down the mast, and it's like way too fast, and I get splinters. And then just throw myself overboard, like in the front, so that the ship will maybe not have moved far enough that I can snag it on the way out. And then I will roll beauty. Oh, that's a 5. See,
Yeah, so the sea sees your attempt to hug it and is not into that. The sea right now isn't looking for reassurance. It's looking to just take out its pain on anything nearby, and you are trying your best, but it doesn't seem like it's listening to you, or even maybe that it's aware of you. But you're not on the ship, so I mean, bonus maybe.
yeah, it's very calm down here. I think under all the waves, like you can just see them moving up and like crashing at the size of the ship, but you can't. It doesn't touch you.
Yeah, which is great for you because there's this sickening crack of twisting timbers as the ship starts just breaking along the side, and water is gushing in. People are pumping as fast as they can, but it is not looking great. And no one's really above decks to notice that, yeah, your captain has spotted a harbor and is trying to guide people in. I assume that there still are stalwart Quaker calming people because, again, panic would make sense, but they are weirdly calm about this. They know that they will survive this ship and tell their kids or grandkids or neighbor kids or whatever about how great the ship was. And there's no need to worry. So I'm kind of curious. Our scholar, you managed to find the surgeon in this room where it should be chaos, and yet there's weird calm. And also, I see our surgeon has unmuted. Do you have things to say?
I say, sorry, hang on. Too many windows. Damn it, gauntlet. Yes. Actually, sorry. Can I, Brian? Do you mind if we lock the first couple rows just so that we have the names in there when we're scrolling down? That's sorry. Like names are kryptonite for me. It takes using them for an hour or two before I get them down and have them memorized.
You're muted, Ryan.
I say, oh, sure, and then realize I'm not entirely sure how you lock the first rows. That's not something I cannibalized from other keepers.
It is if you go to view and freeze.
Aha.
You can do it automatically 1 or 2 rows, or you highlight it on the row you want to be on, and then say do it at the current row, and it'll lock it in, so that when we scroll down, it will stay there. Yeah, bingo.
Do you want just the names, or do you want?
Thank you so much. No, just the like names like that is totally cool. No, I could probably right now describe what everyone looks like, and I have all that in my head. It's the whatever synapse fires to help me memorize names is not like it's always been a thing where I say I need a couple hours or to meet people and say their name and repeat it back to them and stuff like that to do that. So
thanks for teaching me a news sheets thing.
Oh, cool. Yes. Yeah. Happy to. I've been just about everything I know about Google Sheets is I have taught myself so that I can build character keepers. So it's kind of like I learned how to do whatever data validations and stuff like that. So, Mr. McCarr, and I kind of point at the documents that he has clutched to his chest, and I say, "You're concerned for your research, I see."
I mean, yeah, I'm also concerned actually for a lot of things, and not everyone seems to be. Did you talk to them?
And I kind of kind of raise an eyebrow, and little corner of my mouth turns up just a little bit, and I say, I assured them that Providence would see us safely through to our to the next port, and thus far, you and I have managed to to comfort them with the light of our knowledge. So at this point, everyone seems content.
Okay, yeah, that's a little different than my personal feelings on the matter.
Please rest assured that we will be all right. May I inquire, there is, I've seen the copious number of journals that you maintain in your cabin. What is it about these specific ones that causes them to be important enough that you clutch them to your bosom so?
It's a story for a less stressful time, I think. And without another word, I think Isaac is just going to whirl around and start running upstairs to the upper deck, because I think he's going, great, everything's okay down here. And he was literally just coming to warn the doctor, like, okay, so we need to keep things under control. And he walked in and everything was under control. And he went, oh, okay, I'm going to take care of the upper deck, and just kind of starts waddling up. Yeah,
so smooth. Yeah.
Yeah, smooth is not part of his name.
So if you're headed to the upper decks, then once again, you are lashed by the rain as if it has a personal vendetta against you. This rain hates you in particular and wants you over the side of the ship.
Oh, okay.
And the captain is probably yelling orders at you to do something useful or get below decks because it doesn't look good up here.
Okay. I think like between like going there and going up here, I think unfortunately Isaac's stamina is not what he ever was, really. So he's just kind of like, I will, and he just kind of like starts heading to the side of the boat, just hoping like, there'll be some sailors along that'll be like, oh well, here, grab this, hold this, do that, and he's just like looking for anything in a way to distract himself, because I think he's, I think his legs have a mind of their own, and it's, stay the course, do this, do that, and his brain is a tizzy, and it's just like, ugh.
And can I ask something real quick?
Yes.
Which is, sorry, so new to the character sheets and stuff like that. So, Isaac, I actually have a thing that when people come to me for guidance, I can give them advice, and if they heed it, they get a +1 forward to follow my advice. Were you actually coming to me for advice, or just, okay, everything's cool and I'm out?
Oh.
Yeah,
Either
if we
one
want
is
to flashback
either,
in the name of doing a move. Then
yeah, either one is fine, but I wanted to put that on the table since it's a thing on my character sheet you guys may not have seen.
No, you're totally right. I did not see that, so I would love to rewind that. I think, but whether or not he makes it up deck will be determined shortly. And so I think Isaac's just, it's back to when he said, that's a story for a less stressful time. Okay, so everything seems to be under control. Are you okay?
And I, and I kind of cock my head like it's a bit of a strange question, and I say, of course, this is the kind of thing you experience when you place your trust upon the waves, when you trust in Providence to guide you to the next port. You of all people should understand that our mission here is to take these gifts that have been given to us and do our best to uncover these mysteries, to you know what? If you have never seen a storm like this before, surely rather than clutching those papers to yourself, you and I should take some of your instruments and go onto the deck and study this storm. You may not have another chance again to partake of this gift of knowledge that's been given to you.
Yeah. Out of character, I think that requires a roll.
Nope.
Okay, I will take the +1 then.
I like, people come to me for advice. I tell you how to act as a true believer would, and if you take my advice, you get a +1 forward on it.
Cool. Then I think that Isaac, still a little wide-eyed, just kind of blinks a bit and is like, I hadn't thought of it like that. You're right. I kind of panicked a little bit more than usual. My mind's been a little...
And I chuckle and put a hand on your shoulder and I say, stow your papers in that sea chest and we will go get some of your instruments and go out onto the deck.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
And then and that puts all three of us on the deck too, which is, or whatever, up top side. So
okay.
Yeah, and I go and I grab a whatever, like a windsock or something like that to help us measure and you get your whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, well, like, actually, sorry. What sort of instruments do we have that we are bringing on deck here?
So I think that when you get back to Isaac's room, there is like a little sea chest of sorts that had originally been sort of emptied of all its contents, because in Isaac's rush, he was, taking everything out and just going, oh, it's better on me, not really thinking straight. And so he just kind of he takes enough of the papers and just kind of like puts them back, closes the chest, and just kind of points at it and goes, stay there. And then he pulls open a few drawers, and I think there's I'm not entirely familiar with a lot of the instruments, but I think there's one that's basically I'm not sure if it's a windsock, but it's the kind of thing where it's like some ometer thing, and it just kind of like does the thing where in the wind it just like spins crazily, and I think he's grabbing that and a few other choice instruments, and he hands like one or two of them to you and just goes, all right, let's not think about this. And just kind of, just starts heading upstairs. And once on deck, I think, the full fury of the storm hitting him, he's just kind of going to be like, and he just holds up the ometer, and he's just like,
it's magnificent, isn't it? Have you ever experienced anything like this?
It's incredibly windy. Oh my God. How do you maintain any sort of composure in any of this? Like, wait, times like this I could really just go like, Pearl would be really able to handle. Wait, where is Pearl? And I think I'm going to look around, just on deck. Do I see Pearl?
Can I get out of water very easily, or do we want to make that? Like, can I already be on deck right now?
I mean, it would sort of make sense to call for a balance roll or something, but also, you're a freaky eel thing. If you want to say that you can slither your way back up the ship, I will not contest that, because that seems like a reasonable trait for you to have.
Okay, so I think you say that and you turn around to look, and Pearl is like standing like sort of where the captain's wheel is, but like off to one side. They're dripping wet, obviously, because they were just in the ocean, but also it is raining, so that wouldn't be weird. And I think I come down and just say to you, like, very, with my voice raised enough, but like it's also weirdly calm. The sea is melancholy.
Yeah. I mean, I personally say it's a little bit more than that, considering the raging storm around us. But yeah, melancholy. Sure, well, let's go with that. Oh my God. It's freezing. Okay, anyone have any suggestions on what we should do?
What sort of thing would lift its spirits, Pearl? I say with like a wry grin.
It wishes to injure someone. Not out of anger, but out of pain.
Any specific ideas on who or what? Because I'm certainly feeling the pain, he shouts, kind of like to the sea. This is not my idea of fun.
You said that the ship had been damaged. Obviously. Do we see that, or is it kind of under?
Yeah, part of it's under the water. I mean, the water is rushing enough, and the waves are flashing enough that everything about the ship is underwater at some points.
Okay.
You can still hear an uncomfortable creaking and scraping of timbers that aren't lined up like they ought to be anymore.
Okay, so when I was underwater, did I see... Is there a leak?
Yeah, some of the ship is just kind of busted in on itself, and water is piling in. People are, working the bilge pump very dutifully. much more calmly than it could reasonably be expected to, because your Quaker is just such an inspiring presence. But the best you can do now is keep the ship from sinking before getting it into port.
Okay. I think in that case, then, I say it has already injured the ship.
Okay. If it's already injured the ship, and I kind of like just take a quick peek over the side, and I'm like, and it looks like it's injured it pretty solidly. Any idea when it might calm down, or is it more of a like really just going to lash out at us until we get somewhere safe?
Did I get a sense of that?
I think, as you posit that, yes, it's hurt the ship a lot, and I realize, oh dang, it hurt Pearl. The storm is actually lessening a little. Like, maybe that's not what it was after. Maybe it's thinking a bit heavier, or maybe it's thinking a bit more clearly, or maybe it's satisfied with having hurt something. But there's you can sort of see now through the rain, which a minute ago was like having buckets dumped on you. You're starting to get a little bit of a glimpse, maybe because you're closer, of island not too far off from you, with some rocky outcrops that you don't want to drive the ship right into. That's going to be a mess. But if you can navigate it into there, it looks sheltered enough that you'll be spared the worst of the lashing, and you can start to make some emergency repairs. And it seems like the captain's probably also cited that and is trying to direct people to get it in. If there's anything rad you want to do, by all means do it.
Does it seem like this will happen on its own? Like that the sailors will be able to get this ship into harbor?
I might normally ask for y'all to do some awesome sailing, but given that we have literally one sailor, I think it is going to kind of come to Pearl with the how great is your sailing expertise that you can make this into port before the ship just falls apart.
I mean, I think like they're pumping downstairs, but like the water is definitely coming in. We can hear as the rain starts to taper off, just that awful sound of like the wood moving in ways that it shouldn't. I think I want to go to the bow of the ship and like lean over, and I want to call on others for aid. I think the way that I do this is I'm dropping like signs and almost like signals just into the water.
So roll plus beyond, although I think you already do.
That is a 10 plus 2 is 12.
Awesome. Okay.
And okay, so I would like to choose they manifest as part of nature. And then they also leave me with something puzzling and otherworldly.
Oh no. I forgot how much the creature playbook means that I have to come up with weird, creepy stuff for you. So, for a moment, it looks like part of the water itself kind of separates off and is slithering like a pile of eels worming over each other, so they almost look like one writhing mass, but composed of individuals, kind of pushing the ship into port and having those writhing around the ship itself seems to buffer it from the worst of the waves because the water itself is kind of shielding it from the rest of the water. And anyone paying too much attention to the ship right now would see that this is pretty freaky weird, but a lot of them are just trying to hang on to rigging and keep the sails from getting ripped off and keep a mast from breaking and that sort of thing. So I don't think everyone's fully aware of how intensely supernatural this is, but you definitely recognize this being other eel creature type things coming to help out one of their own and trying to, since for some reason you seem to care about the ship, guide it safely to a place that is safe for ships.
I have a question. I was pretty, I was very much in conversation with both of these fine people here, and my instinct is that if Pearl was going to do anything, I'd kind of follow close behind and go, they know what they're doing. So would I possibly see any of this?
You would definitely totally see me dropping things off the edge of the ship.
Yeah.
I'm just going to kind of give them the side eye and go like, what is that supposed to do?
Get us to port.
Are you doing this?
Of course not.
Okay.
Anyone can see that it's a bunch of, like, water eels doing this. That clearly has nothing to do with Pearl.
All right. Well, this is...
It's still raining. I think I look up at the sky and to say, there aren't any birds out.
Yeah, they probably know what's up.
They should have told you this was coming.
Maybe I just should have listened. Thank you. If for nothing else, for keeping a level head about this.
It's all a matter of perspective.
Yeah. I think it is. And I'm just going to kind of look over to the surgeon and be like, well, if things seem to be leveling off, I'm going to go downstairs and figure out a better way to keep track of things. And he just kind of like scuttles off down below deck.
And the rain's still coming down, though not with so much vengeance as before, more like just rain being rain. And eventually these eels work the ship, well, not eels, clearly waves that just happen to be on your side, but look an awful lot like a swarm of eels, get the ship into a, not even really bay, more like a cove or something, but kind of a natural harbor that's blocking the worst of the waves, so that your captain finally makes a call to weigh anchor because it's not getting safer than this, and probably starts setting people about seeing how bad the damage is, making the emergency repairs they can, figuring out how she's going to get the ship back out in the sea because she did not intend to be stuck here forever.
We're on an island of some kind here, right?
Yes, there is an island spreading in front of you. It'd probably be pretty if it wasn't pouring rain right now. But yeah, you can still, there's, the moors with some heather starting to grow, some rocky outcrops, a bunch of small stone houses scattered around, and some figures running out to the beach like they have spotted a ship in distress and they're trying to come help. However, but clearly weighing whether it's actually worth getting into a boat, because that could be dangerous, and the first rule of helping is don't drown doing it. And I think the captain is actually going to look at... Oh my god, that pun. I don't like that at all. Fuck. Okay, so Jim dies. That's it. The captain, clearly identifying two people who are not going to be super useful and one who is incredibly competent and can probably watch them, is going to ask the three of you, maybe with someone else along, I don't know, you can decide if you want an NPC with you, to just get in a ship, go ashore, see if anyone here knows anything about ship repairs, or if there's anything we can do. Just fucking go.
Can we bring some? If there are, actually, can we bring some doubloons or something, or whatever, if we need to pay people for things?
You can definitely bring along some money. She'll front you some.
Well, from the ship's stores or whatever, and
Yes. She doesn't expect that anyone would repair a ship for free. She knows how the world works.
Yeah. Nope. Carefully count it out and all that kind of stuff and everything. All right. So we will take
There's probably a boat in the back, like a little
and
down.
And we will take Handsome Bill, the cabin boy, along with us, because he has a strong back and can row the boat for us.
Good call.
Also, as a note, I think that before I went on this little island expedition, I think that I ended up just, I was back in my quarters organizing things when the call came. And I think that I just kind of reach into one of the lesser used drawers and pull out... It's a decent amount of money that I haven't told anyone that I have, and just kind of pocket that in case we'll need it.
Of course, our scholar has strange money stores he's going to bring to bear. I'm just delighted that we have had 2 characters described as incredibly hot already. This is an acceptable percentage to me.
Just handsome.
Handsome, true. Maybe he's only kind of handsome.
So yeah, and then I guess row out to, or actually, Pearl, is there anything we should bring with that we don't have? What is it that we'll need? What are we seeking?
Rope is always useful.
Very well.
Oh, what did the sea give me? BTW.
Oh, yeah. As you get this boat lowered into the water, you see it washing up against the boat. Not even really washing up, sort of nudged up in an almost dog-like way by one of those water eels, a broken off part of a dogger, which is like an early trawler. It's got beams that come down and the nets to drag behind it, trailing a net that's been kind of ripped through. Like, it wants to show you this, but also it kind of recognizes that maybe you don't want this in your boat, and just kind of bumps up against the boat for a bit.
It's an entire sailboat?
No, it's I'll find a picture of one and paste it in here. But it's the trawling equipment itself, like a beam where it would be attached to the ship, and then part of a net,
Okay.
but it's only part of a net anymore.
Okay. I think then I kind of like hook it around like that like upper the part that swoops up in the back. Well, just a little bit, enough to like hook it on, and we can drag it behind us.
And since you have Handsome Bill, who looks pretty good rowing this ship, probably, you can get ashore. No issue. I think, though, we're going to take probably another fiver because we're entering our last hour, and then return, and you will get ashore and do stuff.
Perfect.
Maybe also freaky eel stuff. So, yeah, 15 minutes after again. So now that I am chagrined that I didn't catch a Kate Bush reference. Oh no.
It's like the B-side to the Hounds of Love single, like 12-inch single. So like that was something that I had access to literally when I was a college radio DJ, which was like when Kate Bush like was actually still recording. So so that's going back a little ways. It's on that Woman's Work box set. It's on there too. The collection, and whatever, YouTube and stuff like that. But I always, it's kind of a cool like rendering of a folk song and her, ethereal voice and stuff like that. So, but a reference that I've carried with me since the first time I heard the song.
It's very atmospherically appropriate for this setting.
Oh yeah, the way they do it, yeah, for sure, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Where is the picture? I was going to copy. There we go. So since I'm mentioning more kinds of ships that mean nothing to me outside of picture reference, I am pasting into the chat a picture of a dogger. It's little one sailboat that trawls nets. Sort of what they had before steam trawlers. Not as efficient.
Yeah, so that's probably whatever, like a boom with a ragged hunk of net attached to it or something like that. That's okay, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Not an entire ship washing up against your boat. Yeah. That would be much more notable.
The captain would probably gripe about that.
The interesting thing is that these sorts of boats, according to Wikipedia, are Dutch.
Yes.
I am learning so many new things. I know nothing about boats.
I know that I am violently seasick on real boats, but here I'm not. Hooray.
There you go. So, yeah. Awesome. Discover the world through role playing.
Yeah. I'm all for that.
Discover the world and make out with it. That is my role playing MO.
I am on board with that.
Hug the ocean. All right.
I'm gonna have to tell Sid about that one. Anyway, trying not to go too deep into my tangents about trying to hug everything in a game. Man, I sure rowed this boat ashore, and a couple men come out and like try to pull it ashore for you and help you get it moored. You can see that there's a few of those doggers moored in this natural harbor too. Clearly not the ones this net came from because they appear to be intact. Like, they got tossed around a little bit. The storm's not really sending those giant waves in here. And a couple of them, there's like a couple big sturdy guys. One, they're probably like 30s or something. One looks like he's maybe 18, 19. And they're all drenched and trying to give you a hand out of the boat and get you ashore because clearly you were out in this. This is not great. Like, oh goodness, where are you from? Are you okay? Can we? Just talking all over themselves.
Greetings. No, please, to just do whatever the minimum is required for us to get safe and get back under shelter. I'm Dr. Benjamin Mott. These are my companions. Professor, are you professor or are you a doctor as well? Yeah. This is Isaac McCarr. He's a doctor of philosophy, and this is Pearl. And we're hoping that we could get your assistance in repairing our ship. And I just kind of point over my shoulder, at the boat there.
I like the idea of you just like yelling this at them from the front of ours.
Oh yeah, totally. Yes, yeah. We were hoping for your assistance.
Yeah, I wonder if just kind of nods slowly, like you're debating what kind of title you should use to refer to Dr. Professor McCarr in this storm. Don't you have priorities? And one of the other sturdy looking men is kind of looking slack-jawed off at the ship like, it's gonna need some work. But the younger guy just immediately goes like, oh, yes, we'll get you in. My mom runs the inn in town. I can get you inside. At least it's dry there. I don't think we have enough rooms for everyone. But yeah, yes, Ed just kind of hurries off, trying to escort you into the town.
Excellent.
You.
So there's some habitation on this island. This is not like a deserted island. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
There's
This-
little
like this-
stone houses scattered around. Nothing fancy, but
Yeah, got
it's
it.
holding
More,
up.
like more Nantucket than whatever, you know, like just deserted, you know, Pacific Island or something like that.
No, there are clearly people here,
Cool.
aside from the three who approached you.
Excellent. So then,
And
yeah, I guess row ashore and follow the kid.
Yeah, as soon as the water gets like shallow enough to even slightly stand in, I'm going to get out of this boat. Then let's like help the kid pull in.
I think Isaac's just going to kind of stumble out because he had surprisingly strong sea legs, and this is a weird thing to actually have land legs again. He's just like, land, and I think he might tip over.
one of the burlier men tries to catch you as you get out, and immediately you're moving like the land should be bucking and rolling. And it's not.
I'm just going to kind of look up to him and go, thank you. I really appreciate that. And then I'm just going to kind of get distracted by his muscles and just kind of go, and just kind of like try and like brush myself off uselessly because it's still raining.
He looks maybe slightly charmed by how completely inept you're appearing at this moment. And the younger kid is like shouting through the rain, like, "Oh, I'm Cam, and they're Fergus and Ian, and none of this matters. It's too raining outside." And he's just like shouting. The wind is carrying his words away. He's trying so hard to be polite. It's not really working. But
Let's get under shelter.
Yeah, and manages to lead you through. It's sort of sparse, but there's still those stone houses around, clearly weathered a lot by being so close to sea spray all the time. And Z2, one that's larger. It's actually like a 2-story building, partly wood, not just stone. Clearly one of the fancier and also one of the newer buildings in town. And it's got a sign that must have had something painted on it, but clearly it was either too recent or too old, and it's not really weathered the storm very well. So there's a flapping piece of wood with... There were letters on it at some point? Who knows what they said? But brushes you all inside and manages to slam the door. The windows are already barred against this storm. And as promised, it is actually dry, and there's a fire going. It's vaguely warm. I mean, it's better than being outside, at least.
What are they doing with our boat?
The two sturdier ones were trying to moor your little boat in there, like kind of next to the doggers and smaller fishing boats that were around.
Okay, so I would have
just leave it there because that's not priority number one.
Mm-hmm. Can I have dragged the netting into the boat just so it's not still in the water?
Definitely, you can.
I think once inside, I think I rush over to the fire and I'm just like, okay. I hope we're here for a while.
So while Isaac is warming his hands, I will take a moment to kind of like, as I am like doffing my rain jacket and, kind of pulling my hair back and kind of just, shaking off, to just kind of cast my eyes around the room and see who is there, whether there's anyone else in the inn, what the state of things is, and try to read a situation, if I may.
Of course you may. You may always roll.
Excellent.
Especially when rolls could go wrong and I could use them against you. But
I'll go ahead and do that. And I got a 9 + 2 because brains is what I'm about. That gets me an 11. So I can ask 3 of the questions. So,
Go for it.
do you want to finish with the description of the interior and who's here, or
Sure, unless you want to ask your questions first, but I can
no?
definitely
I
start here.
like that will help guide me
Yeah.
in asking them. So thank you.
Yeah. So it's kind of just a one room thing here, at least on this level. You can see there's stairs going up, but there's not too much to see here. There's a fire set up. There's some like a couple low benches, a few tables set up, kind of that small pub style almost, where they're kind of walled off. You can just camp for an evening. There's a few people who must have been cut out in the rain, kind of huddled into a booth, dried off, and some clothes that have clearly been spread out by the fire to dry. And Cam has bolted upstairs, clearly trying to find somebody. And you've got the two men sitting there talking, well, standing there still, talking sort of hushed tones about ship and whether it's going to be seaworthy or anything, and clearly trying to evaluate the damage. There's almost kind of bar set up where you would imagine that the innkeeper would be if she was in the room when you came in. It's kind of cozy.
And there's a fire going, which seems to be going just fine and stuff like this. And okay,
you can hear the wind howling outside, but it doesn't seem to have that fury to it anymore.
Who or what's in control here? That's my first question. Who's really in charge?
No one in this room. This is definitely funded by someone who's not from the island necessarily, because things in here are nice and they are new, and the rest doesn't seem to be.
Got it. Okay, that's really interesting. What should I be on the lookout for?
So there's clearly at least one major player here, because someone funded this inn and thought that people would be stopping here. But there's probably more in town, and you might want to be careful who you're making friends with, because that is going to necessarily mean you're taking sides in a conflict you don't yet possibly understand.
And there's a couple of people there at the you said there's some people there that look like they're drying off and stuff like that?
Yeah, like this was the closest port in a storm, if you'll
got it.
Expression.
Okay. What here is not what it seems.
So, aside from the obvious that, this seems to be a nice rural inn that's clearly been funded by someone with money, and this island doesn't appear to have a ton of money, what the heck is up with that? Since you're aware, alert sort of person, constantly taking in these details, you've probably noticed that kid in particular, well, the youngest of them, not really a kid still, Cam seems pretty comfortable out in a storm, and that's a little weird. There's something not quite canny about that kid.
Okay.
Also, possibly Pearl is freaking weird, but I'm sure you've noticed that at some point.
So as I'm warming my hands at the fire, I'm gonna look over to the two men, and I'm just going to kind of say aloud, "So, Fergus and Ian, I take it? I'm sorry. The storm was really loud out there, and I don't know which is which."
They're nearly identical. I mean, they may not be twins, but clearly you'd have to know them pretty well to tell them apart. And they're like, they gesture, like, no, Ian Fergus, but it's fine. Everyone gets mixed up.
Okay, so I don't have any idea which of the two of them, helped me out of the boat.
You could make a guess. I mean, they're not wearing exactly the same outfit, but they're also pretty drenched. They've got kind of heavy coat over. One of them's hair is like a little bit darker. That might have been the one that helped you, but it's hard to say.
Okay, cool, great. I'll try my best to take note of that, and obviously fail.
Yeah, I mean, you'd bet it's Ian, but which one's Ian? Oh no.
Oh no. I'm just like, someone helped me, but now I'm like, oh no, they're twins. This is the worst predicament. It probably won't be the worst. The worst is yet to come, but still.
And Pearl is like taking off the jacket and like taking off the belt and the shoes because like they're definitely waterlogged at this point, and just like standing in front of the fire. Not like what do you even do on land? What is here? I think it's been a long time since I've been on any port. I just like ship hop.
And probably as Pearl is stripping off the wettest of their garb and standing in front of the fire like normal people do, Cam reappears with a woman with kind of somewhat curling auburn hair. It's going a little bit gray. She looks kind of young and just like she was probably prettier at one point, but has been aggressively worn down by the world. She looks about as worn as some of those stone houses you came by. But immediately bustles into like, oh no, you're all terribly wet. I'm so sorry you're out in this. It's a miracle you survived, and is trying to like spread around some blankets or like get you a drink or something. She doesn't know if you drink, but I got some whiskey here that would probably help. And of course the fire. You're welcome to the fire. And just host panic.
I think.
No, go.
Okay, I think Isaac, once he's actually calmed down a bit in front of the fire and everything, I think he certainly welcomes the whiskey. I don't think he's a frequent drinker, but I think in stressful situations like this, he'll certainly take one up on the offer, and he extends his hand. Or I always switch between third and first person. I'm realizing I extend my hand and just say, Isaac McCarr, these are my compatriots, Dr. Benjamin Mott, and this here's Pearl. Thank you for your hospitality. I'm not sure if there's anything we can do in return to pay you for your kindness.
And I kind of chuckle and I say, I kind of chuckle and I say, Doctor, I presume we can actually pay her. And I, whatever, take out a couple of simoleons or whatever it is we're using, and kind of lay them down on the counter and say, will this be sufficient for our meals and a room for the evening?
Oh, forgive me.
We're not going back to the ship.
And like I kind of make a face and I say, we have the opportunity to spend an evening dry in a warm bed, which when and I kind of I kind of sort of raise my hands a little bit to the sky, and I say, when we're provided with such gifts, we should not turn them away. And
yes, but I don't like leaving her alone.
I know that, but the captain is more than capable of taking care of things aboard ship. I know that you're concerned for her, but she will be fine, I assure you.
Well, I mean, I think it's both the captain and the ship itself. I think, and I'm going to just kind of look at the woman and I go, Sorry to sort of intrude like this. Time is of the essence with the storm and everything. Is there someone local that we might speak to about getting repairs done, perhaps on site?
These men were.
Oh, right.
Can you fix her?
I'm sure they can, but it's the middle of the night.
Yeah, no one looks sort of relieved that you've offered that it's the middle of the night, and also
Yes.
there's a storm outside. Just like,
of
course, the Brodies can do it, but it's.
And I take the whiskey bottle, and I pour myself like half a glass, and then I hand the rest of the bottle to Pearl, and I say,
thank you.
and I seem surprised. Have you? You do not? Are you a teetotaler, Pearl?
I don't like the taste. It tastes
yes.
like fire.
It is acquired. And I shrug and I put it down. Pearl, when was the last time that you slept in a proper bed?
But why would I?
Why would you?
There's always the hammocks on the ship. I prefer it.
I understand that, but these people have been very hospitable. Our lodging is paid for. I'm sure that if you ask, they can hang a hammock from the rafters upstairs, and we're warm, we are dry. The others on ship are not so lucky. One of the reasons I asked the captain to send you with us was so that you could perhaps have an evening where you were not tying knots and furling sails and could take a moment to rest. I
look over at the two men and like, but can you fix her?
So I'm trying to manipulate Pearl into just chilling out and staying with us.
Roll for it.
I will roll for it, and we'll see what happens. All right. So
That's plus beauty, and from memory, you're pretty beautiful.
I am. I'm a pretty boy. I rolled a 10 on the dice, so even if I wasn't. So basically that means, we're not worried about XP for this because it's just a little short form game. Yeah. So I think what that means is Pearl gets a +1 forward. If they do it, they get +1 to their next roll. If they refuse, they're acting under fire. And both of those are true because I hit the 10+.
Yes. So you have managed to apply both the carrot and the stick to Pearl's choices.
Question though, do you get experience when you roll 10+? Is that how this works?
No, this game doesn't even really have an experience.
Yeah, there's no advancement.
You can patch on some advancement, but it doesn't come built in.
Okay. So I want, I think I'll agree, but I want to make sure that the ship can be fixed first. What do the Fergusons, whatever their last name is, what do they say?
The I'll do it if you do a thing for me seems entirely in keeping with the way these moves flow. And yes, one of them, it might be Fergus. There's a 60% chance it's Fergus. Says that, yes, I'll have to see what the damage is, but I'm pretty sure we can fix her.
All right.
There.
Then.
You see? She'll be fine.
I become attached, I think.
I understand. And I've finished my half a glass of whiskey at this time, and I kind of lean in and I whisper to you, we could both use a night without the voices. And perhaps when we are not on the waves, we will be able to sleep peacefully for once.
So are the voices a bad thing for you?
And you're like engaging me in a conversation, so I kind of like start up and I look and see if anybody overheard us.
Have you understood them? I can't.
And I kind of clear my throat and I kind of stretch. I'm stiff from this sitting. It seems as if the rain has let up some. Perhaps a brief constitutional. And I like walk over and start pulling my coat on.
And like there's this brief moment where Pearl kind of like just reaches a hand out after you to continue the conversation.
Yeah, and I kind of like look at you like let's go for a walk.
Oh, okay. Is it still pouring rain outside? I will go regardless, but I'm just curious.
It's really rainy outside. I saw Peter putting a hand up though, and I'm curious why.
So, I think you may like this, Ryan. I'm going to go ahead and while they're having this conversation, just because in the interest of one of my bonds with the good doctor is that I've been secretly studying him. So I would like to read another's thoughts.
Go for it. Roll it
Cool.
for me.
All right.
How does that even work in this setting?
Well,
It doesn't necessarily mean telepathy as much as like trying to divine what someone else is thinking. Although
yeah.
it could have an element of the beyond. Everything can get a little weird.
Okay. Oh wait, no. Yep, that is a right out failure. That is a 6 total. Wait, do I get a? It doesn't even matter if the bond counts for anything extra. That's still not enough.
Did you roll since you got that +1 forward?
Hmm.
Oh, I don't think he has.
Yeah, you got a +1 forward from our good doctor at one point, and I don't think you've used it yet, so you could apply that if you wanted.
Does that just add 1 to the roll?
Bumps it to a 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you like the failure, in which case you can go with the failure. But...
Oh. Yeah. No, I'm gonna go ahead and use that +1 forward.
So you can ask one of those questions and only
Great.
one.
That's fine. What does this character need most?
What do I need most? Oh, I need someone to help me hear the voices clearly, because they kind of whisper and I hear bits and pieces and they're like and they like, as soon as I just start to understand what they're saying, I always wake up screaming.
Okay.
So you hear them when you're asleep.
Yeah. So I think in understanding that, I think that actually satisfies my curiosity enough to where, if it's something to do with the voices, of which I only hear bits and pieces that the doctor occasionally mentions, not the voices themselves, just what he mentions. And I think I'll just kind of be content to stay by the fire, occasionally eyeing Fergus and Ian, mostly out of fairly undisguised curiosity, but also a little bit of suspicion.
So yeah, so I throw my, like I said, I throw my coat on and I walk out into the rain with Pearl.
Yeah, and I think I leave my coat and like I take my boots, but
there's
no point anymore. It's not protection.
Very well. And I think I'm just going to do that thing where we just kind of like, it's a tiny little town. So whatever, kind of as our conversation happens, we'll just walk a little, whatever, up the street or around a circle or around the corner and back, whatever little mini circle route we can take that brings us back to the door in the amount of time that our conversation takes.
Do you want to give us like a brief, if there's anything interesting that we would see on the way?
And you're just looping around. And how far afield was your walk gonna go?
Maybe 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like in a circle, so 5 minutes out. 5 minutes
whatever,
back.
few hundred yards, something like that. So
yeah, well, and it's not especially mountainous terrain here.
Yeah.
The Western Isles, they're not as mountainous, and you can see most of the town probably. There's a bunch of those kind of worn down stone houses, battered up, like the people inside don't really want to go out and see who you are in the middle of a storm, even if it is abating. And there's one a bit off, you can kind of see it in the distance off on a sort of picturesque bluff over the waves that has a flock of hardy little wary looking sheep that look really pissed at being out in the rain right now. They've got like a little shelter, but apparently they don't want to sit under it because they're tough. I don't know. It looks nicer than some of the other ones around here. And there's a little church set aside. But, I mean, it's kind of an unremarkable town in a lot of ways. It looks like it's been doing better recently, but the things have never been great here.
You just said there's a little church.
Yes, I did.
So
I meant the bluff.
So, it sounded like Ryan was saying that that's like some distance outside of the main little bit of town.
Yeah, the houses and stuff are kind of scattered about.
Oh, okay.
Random, it appears. There's some a bit off, not quite around them. It looks like stone kelping kilns at a distance. Probably don't want to go there. That's gross. But yeah, a bit closer to town, there is that little church, and a bit further away, there is that house that looks like it's been restored recently.
And like, so I guess we kind of come walking out of the bar, and we're doing this walk around thing, and I say, "Forgive me, Pearl. Sometimes I am not sure whether I really hear the voices or not, and I didn't want to burden the others with my flights of fancy."
You are hearing them, if I'm hearing them too. I don't know who they are or what they want. I can't quite catch it. It's always just under the water. Does it frighten you?
They terrify me, yes.
But why? They're only sad the way the sea was sad. Have you heard them crying?
I don't know what they're saying. I hear them whispering just outside the range of my hearing, as if it's through the water, and they're indistinct, difficult to understand, incomprehensible, but slowly, just when I think that I can make out the words, something terrible and black and heavy falls across my soul, and I cannot hang on to them, and that is when I awake.
You hear them when you're asleep?
Yes, since Trafalgar. since the battle. I was just a teenager, and eager to serve in the Royal Navy, and had no real sense of what war meant. Eager to test my mettle against Napoleon's sailors, but I was not in any way ready for what it was like. You're a sailor, but have you ever been on a warship?
No, those are not the sorts of ships I frequent.
They are no longer the sorts of ships that I frequent either.
Are you all right?
I am thinking of the irony of burning alive when surrounded by ocean with no land in sight. It is
I think I reach out and just like touch you very, very lightly on the shoulder and say, "You aren't burning now. The rain would put you out."
That's true.
You pray, right?
Yes.
Would you like to go inside? Would you like to go inside?
Yes, you needn't join me, Pearl, if it's not your desire to. But I welcome you if you wish to.
I will come inside with you.
Thank you. And I think I'm totally cool with kind of have that be the scene. I go in, I'm going to pray for a little bit, and we're going to end up back at the hotel. Unless there's another bit of conversation that you wanted, Pearl.
I mean, the voices obviously mean something very different to the two of us, and we are interpreting in different ways, so that would be, but maybe next time, I think. Longer conversation.
Yeah, and I think were this, an episodic movie type thing, if that doesn't exist, a TV miniseries or something, we'd probably see the credits start to scroll over. Our doctor prayed inside the inn, and the people scream about, and Pearl clearly doing whatever Pearl does, and our scholar eyeing up these two strapping guys who are going to repair the boat, and so on. So, I'd like to do a quick stars and wishes round, partly for the wishes flagging what it is you would like to do in the future. I feel like we had a lot of moves in this, which is pretty rad. We've only got about 5 minutes left on the clock, though, so we can do this real fast, although we might run a smidge over. Is that going to be an issue?
I am fine to go a couple minutes over, yeah.
Sweet. Okay. So let's, I guess, go alphabet order again, because I'm a hack, and that's easy. So, Jim, why don't you start with stars, and then we'll come back for wishes.
Yeah, putting me on the spot. That's fantastic. Stars, Peter, I love your like that we almost have a Laurel and Hardy or an Abbott and Costello thing going on that I really, really enjoy. That is very fun. That you have the you have got down the kind of bumbling but lovable thing that I think you were going for. You seem to really, really capture and embody in a way that I liked a lot. That was a lot of fun to kind of play the straight man too. So sorry, so to speak, in the comedy sense. So that was really wonderful. And Sarah, we haven't played before. I really loved Pearl. And right at the end, with you suggesting that I go to church, you're like, okay, I think this is the thing you do, right? Oh, I'll wait here. I really like that. That last scene was really wonderful. So so thank you for that. I really enjoyed it. Sorry. And Ryan, all of the you have like there's a sufficient air of like kind of omnipresent menace that has not like that just feels like it's out there, which I think is like the perfect tone to set for a game like this. Like it's not there's nothing there's not like any specific like creepy crawly sea monster or anything that has resolved itself yet, but very clearly like something's not right, but we're not quite sure what it is. But definitely star for that tone wise. I really enjoyed it. So thanks.
All right. So, all right. Let's see. Stars.
Have you been introduced to Stars and Wishes? I realized I didn't explain that at all.
I assume it's similar to Roses and Thorns.
Yeah, stars are just a thing you liked, particularly a thing another person did, and wishes are things you would like to see going forward.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I did stars assuming we were going to do wishes going back the other way. Cool.
So I think in terms of stars, Jim, right back at you for the straight man comedy thing. I think it's been really interesting. I think, I had kind of an idea about how to play this character so that he, was actually, fairly together, and then it sort of ran away from me, but I'm happy that it did, because if there were two, sort of scientifically oriented people who really knew what they were doing, it just wouldn't be quite as interesting. And I think you really have managed to kind of endear me to the good doctor, and I'm really excited to just kind of like play around with that and see where it goes. Sarah, just okay. I'm like mystified by Pearl, and I'm so excited to find out more. And also, I feel like there's kind of like I don't want to change things yet, but I want to say that Isaac's a little more than intrigued by whatever is going on. I don't think it's changed yet, but I think that's also just because I want to interact more and see where that goes. And Ryan, this is my first time playing with you, and I don't know if I have a lot of words to say, not because it was bad or anything, but because wow, okay, fine, you get seasick in real life, but here you've got your sea legs in spades, and it is so much fun to play already in this world that you've created. And the best part is that I kind of feel like, in my usual, I tend to make characters that are a bit more positive and lively and everything. And I love how I can already feel like this is going to be soul crushing for my character. And I'm so pumped for that. And I hopefully can look back on this first session and give thumbs up to that instead of, what I'm probably likely going to be, which is soul crushed and sad. But it'll be great. I'm really excited.
Yeah, both of you guys' characters, I could see them very clearly, and you guys brought them to life so well in your voices and the mannerisms, and it felt like you had a really firm hold on them, and you knew what they were about. That was really cool to see. And I love just the atmosphere of this. Ryan, you've got a really steady hand for this, I think, which is nice. And I love boats.
And I know you're not supposed to give yourself stars, but the thing when Pearl said, I want to make sure she's going to be okay, and I said, the captain will be fine. I I really enjoyed that. So like, because that was like the perfect setup for that, to like for Pearl to, for us to completely like go past us what Pearl's real concern was. I
For us to
really,
be ships.
yeah, I like that moment. So yeah.
Yeah. Group star because I love all these characters and I want them to be okay. And also, yeah, second that star because I loved how Pearl and the Doctor are clearly having the same conversation, but having different conversations, and they're not quite clicking on that. And it's star to Jim for coming in with a character who's, yeah, man, very Quaker up front. You really like played the heck out of the believer descriptor, and I love that. I'm really excited to see where that goes. And to Peter for this scholar that I love him so much. He's inept and sweet, and I just want everything to be okay for him. And star for Pearl for I don't quite get Pearl, and I love that because I feel like I do, but also I don't. But also they're so weird, and it is everything I wanted out of the creature descriptor. I am into this. And yeah, I'm really curious to see where this goes. So I will throw it. Let's do reverse order. Sarah can do wishes. Oh wait, my wish is going to be that I want to see where this goes because I already said that. Ha. I'm really curious to see how all of you unfold and how you either completely fuck up this down or I don't even know what.
Yeah, there are all these little mysteries that I want to uncover. Whatever gift that was given by the EO people. And just like there's something going on in this town, right? Because people aren't quite normal. And like that house that was recently refurbished, like where's all the money coming from? Why would anyone even bother for this place?
Okay, so one of my wishes, I think I've gotten to play sort of the Scholar playbook a lot in this session, and I'm not knocking that by any means. I absolutely love that. In this and in the next two sessions, I want to just dive headfirst into the lover descriptor, and I want to just really kind of see where that goes. And like, I'm so used to with these types of stories that have to do kind of with, you know, the ocean and a crew like this, and just kind of like having these sort of torn relationships. I kind of want to see where this goes. And because I think I do love Isaac in the sense that he's sort of lovable and bumbling and inept, but I feel like there's an underside to him, and I want to explore that. And also, I second the wish about the mysteries. Like, I am so curious, and like, it's great because even though I can see that like something's going on, my character can connect dots up to a point, and then they're like, well, these are two separate things. They have nothing to do with each other, and I want them to. I want him to make at least like one thing make sense in his head. We'll see.
And now we all stare at Jim.
Oh, and that's me. Sorry. So there's one thing I want to say, which is anybody watching the video can't see this, but Sarah's character sheet says, "I am from the sea, mofo," which is like the best thing ever. Like that is a perfect encapsulation of her character, I think. So, but I would. I want to see some people get messed up so that I can patch them back together again. That is a thing I'm wishing for. That I'm sure there'll be some, ample opportunity to happen. And the other is I want to make sure I wish that you do not forget that I picked that, like, I did such a great job of calming everybody during that storm that they are going to come looking to me for boons or miracles at a later date, and that carries over to a future session and does not get forgotten, because that is just going to be fun. So and if by chance the opportunity to preach a little bit to the people of the island should happen to come up, that's a thing I wouldn't say no to. So, but I'm loving it so far.
I'm into all of these. Which, again, you do not need my approval for your wishes, but these are all excellent wishes. And you're all excellent people. I'm excited to play another session with you. So I'm going to kill the broadcast here. Bye. Whoever happens to watch this. Also, I see you, Barry, because of course you're going to watch this. I know how you roll.